of our favorite rehearsal techniques for any chamber music that we play, but it works especially well for third construction, is to use singing. And this has a couple of different functions. One is just practical, that when we're traveling around a lot, going to different places, we don't always have a chance to set up the instruments to play the piece. And it provides sort of a shortcut. But in the process of doing that out of necessity, we've realized that there's a lot of things that singing helps you get to. One of the difficult things and rewarding things about being a percussionist is that you set up all these instruments around you and that you're constantly sort of doing the gymnastics and the negotiation of figuring out how to get to this instrument, you know, where do I have my sticks and all that kind of stuff. One of the negative things that comes out of that sometimes is that we as musicians don't become connected enough to the expressive elements or some of the elements that we internalize about the music. And singing is really the way to push through that barrier and get immediately to those aspects of music making that are so incredibly important. And by taking the sticks out of your hands and trying to make the sound from inside your body and trying to vocalize it, you learn a lot very quickly about what you think is important about the music. Why that's so great in chamber music is that you can get really close to each other. You could even be sitting in a square or a circle on the floor. You could be sitting in chairs around a table, very close to each other, and you can all be looking at each other. We memorized this piece, so we have a chance to actually be looking up at each other a lot while we're singing to each other. And you develop a closer relationship in terms of what you think the music should be doing by going through this process. A lot of times when we're talking about interpreting music, we say, well, this is up to you and that is up to you, and there's all kinds of different options about ways you could do things. I feel comfortable, and I think we feel comfortable saying that singing will never, ever have a negative effect on the way that you develop the music that you're working on. It'll only help and it'll only be positive. I can almost not think of a situation where it would be a bad thing to do or a waste of time, so we highly, highly recommend it. We're going to demonstrate just the first few letters of third construction to show you a little bit about our process of working on the piece as it evolved, especially with regard to memorizing the piece. So this is just the first few letters. So, as you can see, it's also a lot of fun, especially I think all of us would consider ourselves to be drummers first and vocalists maybe 50th or something. It's not necessarily something that comes naturally to all of us as percussionists, but it connects you to a different side of music making, and it forces you to confront being in close contact with each other and knowing each other's parts really well. And hopefully you guys got a sense of the fact that because we've memorized it, we're not just thinking about what's happening in our own parts in our own heads. Part of our version of learning the piece is actually about how we interact with each other. And my third measure and my ninth measure or whatever wouldn't mean the same thing to me if I was only thinking about my line, as they do when I know that Eric's coming in and that I know that Jason is coming in. Singing is a really cool way to get to some of those core things that need to happen when you're learning a piece like this.